When they don't show, don't bring them up.
Well, you're going to be calling my name, so
Just
we're
say
not
that
going
they
to know
weren't
until
here,
you actually
so
call
don't
them
say
by
anything.
name. And if they don't come up immediately onto the stage, you're, so you can say, apparently they were not able to make it this
Okay.
morning. We knew, you can even say up front if you want to that we knew we might have a couple students that couldn't make it. So,
Because we know that that one student is not going to make it.
well, yeah, we knew that one, but I only count 19 of the other 21 that are here, so
Okay.
you'll be short a couple people.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on.
Well, good morning, everybody. All right. It's great to see such a great crowd here today. I want to welcome you to our seventh annual Scholarship Awards ceremony. This is amazing to me that we are already in our 7th year of doing this. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Tom Smith. I have the blessing of being the executive director here at River Landing, and what a blessing it is. I've been here 20 years now. I got a chance to open this community, and it's just a wonderful place. So hopefully our visitors here today and our families here today will get a chance to see a little bit of that while you're here today. But I'd like to do some welcoming here and some recognition of some folks. First of all, let me go ahead and see if you're a family member of one of these wonderful scholarship recipients, why don't you stand up for us today? Stand up if you're a family member. Let's give them a big hand, y'all. That's great. Let me tell you, on behalf of the residents and the other staff that are here, how great your children are and your brothers and sisters and all that work here. These are fantastic folks. So, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that as we go along here. Also want to recognize some folks, some special guests that are here. We have folks that are representing a lot of our individual scholarship endowment funds today. So when I kind of call the fund that you are a part of, would you stand up? I'm going to start with Charles and Alice Fisher's family. They're here today. Let's give them a hand, please. And we also have John and Verna Kroom with us today. John and Verna. Regina Shepherd's here today with some family members, if you all would stand. And our inaugural fund this year is the Jim Landon Fund. And so Jim brought a whole posse with you. So why don't you all stand up? So let's. Thank you all. I also, I would be remiss if we didn't recognize those residents that are here today that support the River Landing Scholarship. So if you have supported the River Landing Scholarship and are a resident or a staff member here, please stand up. Let's recognize you all as well, because there's a lot of you here. So. Okay, one last VIP that I want to introduce, and I think he's sitting in the back somewhere. I see him now. So I want to introduce Tim Webster, who is the president and CEO of BrightSpire. And Tim, thanks you for being here today. As typical, Tim sits in the back. I figured that. I figured you would do that to us, Tim, but thank you for being here today. The scholarship committee, the scholarship committee has a big job. This year we had over 28 actually applications for scholarships this year. It's the most ever. And I know Harvey will probably talk a little bit about that, so I won't ruin his surprise. But it's a big job for our scholarship committee. And so I want to recognize them that are here today. If you all would stand up, let's give them a big hand as well. They have a big job to do. And I want to also recognize 2 scholarship committee members that actually rotated off this year. Jim Mabry was our resident council liaison. And so Jim, I don't know if Jim's in the crowd. I think he's away. As a matter of fact, I think he told me he was going to be away. But also Wiz Horner is here. And Wiz has been a big part of our committee for the last several years. So thank you. All right, just 2 more big thank yous because I will get in trouble if I don't say this, so I just want you to know this. First of all, Marisa Ray, she's been a huge support. She's part of our corporate office, our management services office, and this would not be happening if it wasn't for her being allowed to be here and be a part of this thing. So Marisa, thank you. And then one last thank you, and this is the person that allows me to stay here as the executive director at River Landing, because without her, I wouldn't be here. I can tell you that. I've been fired a long time ago. And that's Michelle Jones, who's our administrative assistant, and she does a great job for us. And there's a lot of planning and an effort that goes into making this program go, and she does all of it, and she does it all. It's kind of a funny story, but I'll go up to her, I'll get nervous the day before this. I go, Michelle, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do that? And she's like, Tom, settle down. It's okay. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. You don't have to worry about it. You know, the last thing I want to share is I wish you all could be there when we do the interviews for the scholarship candidates. You know, every time we do this, it just brings joy to my heart to listen and hear the stories and just where these folks are. At 18, 19, 20, I had no idea where I was going, but these folks all seem to know where they're doing, what they want to do, and where they're going. It's just amazing to me, and honestly, it gives me a lot of great confidence for the future because we've got such great folks. So let's give them one more big hand here. And I know our residents inspire you, but you inspire us at the same time, so thank you for that. Speaking of inspiring, I'm going to turn it over to Kay Heflin, who's going to do our invocation for us. Kay, thank you all.
Let us pray. Our Father, we come together this morning with joyful hearts on this most happy occasion. We give you thanks for the residents of River Landing whose generous donations make this event possible. May they be blessed with the happiness giving brings to our hearts. We give you thanks for the families gathered here. They are the ones who have instilled the determination and supported the goals of our recipients. May their sacrifices be rewarded by the success of their loved ones. We give you thanks for our recipients who give so much to us here at River Landing. Their happiness is contagious, and their patience with old folks is amazing. They truly enrich our lives. We ask your blessings on them as they get ready for this next school year. Bless them with peace and happiness as they continue on this journey. Amen.
Kay, thank you so much for that special prayer and blessing over our scholars today and those that have chosen to attend this morning. My name's Marisa Ray, and I work with our Bright Spire Foundation, and it is my joy to work with our donors, many of you and others, as we continue to build the foundation and provide needed resources for our employee scholarship program. So welcome today. We're so excited that you are here. I was listening to some of our team members who are recipients today, and they were talking about how nervous they were, and I said, this is so exciting. Just let that nervousness go and just let the excitement come to the forefront. So congratulations to each of you, and we just look forward to hearing more about you and your awards. I think I'm supposed to give a little bit of information about the history of our Employee Scholarship Program, and I'm happy to do that. Our program was established in 2016 through a partnership with the residents of River Landing and Bright Spire Foundation. Initially inspired by the memory of our former Director of Marketing and Sales, who some of you, I'm sure, probably remember, Mary Walter Schaefer. The Residents Council partnered with the foundation to establish the River Landing at Sandy Ridge Employee Scholarship. Gay Brown, who unfortunately is unable to be with us today but serves on this committee, she was around the table at that time, and some others who are here today were also around the table. And what an important step that was for our community to have an employee scholarship fund. The Employee Scholarship Program provides needed educational scholarships to assist our teammates each year, and opportunities are continuing to grow because of generous donors like you. I'm pleased to announce that because of your continued generosity, our Employee Scholarship Program has actually passed a milestone of sorts this year, including the awards that will be made today. Since inception of the program, we will have been able to award 88 scholarships totaling over $102,000. And I think that deserves an applause to you all. Thank you for your support of our teammates and this important program. As our employee scholarship program has grown over the years, several donors have chosen to create additional named scholarships, as Tom mentioned, as a way to honor loved ones and to leave a lasting legacy. And I'd just like to share just a little bit about those funds now. The Charles and Alice Fisher Educational Endowment for the Employees of River Landing. Tom and I had the honor to work with Charles and Alice back in 2018 to establish this fund, and as you all know, they were quite a team. In the process, Charles would share with us that through the generosity of others, he was able to attend the Williamson Free School of Trades located in Media, Pennsylvania, when he was a young man. And that's where he met Alice, and that's where they began their journey together. They established the Charles and Alice Fisher Educational Endowment for the Employees of River Landing as a way of giving back and paying it forward. And we're honored to have their sons and their wives with us today. You all always make this event a priority. And I also think it's noteworthy to mention that this family has had 3 generations support the scholarship fund. We appreciate you and appreciate your investment in this fund. The John and Verna Kroom Educational Scholarship was established in 2021, and many of you know the Krooms who are with us today. John's previously served on our River Landing Board of Trustees, and I know many of you are aware of Verna's countless hours and dedication that she's put into the River Landing Library here. But we're grateful to John and Verna for the many ways that their charitable giving has impacted the campus over the years. And you may recall that they were honored in 2021 with the Outstanding Philanthropist Award for High Point and the surrounding area by the Association of Fundraising Professionals. We're very grateful for the Krooms. The Burton S. and Regina P. Shepard Educational Scholarship was also established in 2021 by current resident Regina Shepard, who's here with us today with her family. The Burton S. and Regina P. Shepard Educational Scholarship was established by Regina in memory of her husband, Bert, who practiced patent law. That sounds kind of complicated, right? Patent law. For 40 years. Patent law for 40 years. Regina's family members have also been generous supporters of this fund, and we're very grateful for that and happy that you're with us today. And then this year, it's been such a joy to work with Jim Landon to establish the Edna and James Landon Employee Scholarship. And although sweet Edna passed away in December of 2021, education has long been a priority to both Jim and Edna. Jim, I was looking back at some of the comments and conversations that you and Edna had with me over the years as we talked about this fund. And you all had shared with me that ever since you've been here at River Landing, that every employee has done everything possible to assist you and Edna with every need that you had, and that was why you were choosing to set up this fund, as well as honor Edna. So we thank you for that. We're honored to administer this new fund and to be making the first ever award from the fund this year. And as Tom's already said, I think Jim gets the award for having the most family members with us today. So pleased you all are with us. It's a real privilege for the Bright Spire Foundation to administer these permanent endowments. that provide the support for this program, and many of you continue to be very generous in helping to grow the endowments by making additional contributions to the foundation, and your gifts are appreciated and are making a difference, certainly, as you see today. And I, too, want to thank the dedicated committee members who've put so much time and energy into this process this year. Thank you so much for that. And to the families of scholarship recipients, you have a lot to be proud of. We'll now move on to the most exciting part of today's celebration and the reason that we're all here. And Harvey Loud's going to present our scholars with their awards. Please help me welcome Harvey.
Hold the applause, please. Hold the applause. What an exciting day. What an exciting day for River Landing. I look out and I see residents. Just as an aside, I'm 6'4". I worked in sales for a while, and one of my clients watched me walk in one day and said, "You're very tall, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm 6'4". He said, "Well, I didn't know they could stack bologna quite that high." But they did. I'm Harvey Loud, and I am honored to be here. And before I continue, I want to introduce my committee members. Kay Rickard, Tom, Dick Tobin, and Kay Heflin. Gay Brown cannot be with us. She's in the hospital, and we hope that she returns soon to River Landing. But we all did a great deal of work, and I'm so proud of you and glad that I can represent the committee to you here today. Welcome staff members, welcome residents, welcome family, honored guests. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's just a neat sea of people, and the people on 1390. How are you today? Good to see you as well. I think it's a great day for River Landing, and the reason I think it's a great day for River Landing is because for me, this is kind of a heart of what makes River Landing tick, what we're doing today. And by that, I mean, there are some of us that are residents, and this is our home. There are some of you that work here and make us happy to be here. There are families here, but what it all comes down to is I feel like we're an extended family. I feel like the barriers between us have been almost eroded, and we treat each other as family. And as family, we take care of each other. And I think this is an opportunity by giving some scholarships out to members of our staff to help them through some financial hurdles is what a family would do. So I'm really honored to be part of that effort and honoring these young folk as they pursue the goals in their lives. So really it's a special, special day, I think, here at River Landing. The committee met for a couple days to interview these folk. We asked them a series of questions. We tried to keep it same, one candidate to the next. We asked them about their experience here at River Landing, good and bad. How's it going? What are you proud of? What you have done either in your personal or your professional life. We found out the school that they're going to be attending or are attending. We found out what year they're in. In some cases, we learned their grade point averages, which I'm very envious of. I didn't see some of those grade point averages ever. We also had the opportunity to find out with this education, what are they going to do with it? What is the goal? Where are they headed? And that for me was kind of the inspirational part. And Tom spoke about that earlier, that certainly when I was 18, 20 years old, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life. And yet I'm finding with these young folk that a number of them, not all of them, a number of them know pretty precisely what they do want to do with their lives. And that for me is pretty darn encouraging. Some of them want to own a business. Some of them want to get a degree in nursing. Some of them want to continue on in mechanical engineering, or others want to become a math teacher working in the elementary level of our schools. So the range is pretty broad in what these young folks want to do. My job here is to help share, as Tom spoke, these interviews were really exciting for us to participate on. I'm going to see if I can bring some of the interview and the application information back in front of you today so that you also can get a chance to learn how well these staff members are doing here at River Landing. Before that starts, though, I think there's one thing that was common through the interview process, and that is each of these young folk had vision. They knew pretty much where they wanted to go. They knew where they wanted to make a better life, maybe for themselves, maybe for their families, maybe in their community. But it was fairly clear where they were headed. It wasn't as if they were just participating. In fact, they were beginning to control what they wanted to have happen in their lives. So vision is one of the things that they all seem to have. But vision just by itself is a dream. You need commitment, and that's the other aspect of what we all heard in interviewing them is the serious commitment that they have. It's not easy to work and go to school at the same time, have a full-time job, and maybe go to school full-time. It takes a lot of sacrifice to do that, and yet these folks are deciding, in fact, that's exactly what they want to do. They have the vision, and they have commitment, and I'm convinced they're going to make it happen. So without further ado, let me move on to the recipients. The first group is the River Landing at Sandy Ridge Employment Scholarship Fund. And I will ask Valeria Cabral to come up. Valeria. Valeria she's a homemaker at Muirfield. She's been with us 6 months. She's going to go to Davidson Community College. She'll be a sophomore, and she's majoring in civil engineering. Civil engineering. So in our interview with Valeria, as she sits down, I said, why is it, that you're a civil engineer? Where is that going to take you? And she said, well, she has a passion, which is to become an architect at some point in her life. And when she is an architect, she wants to meld together the architecture of the United States and Mexico into one. And that's the dream that she has, and I'm sure she's going to make it happen. Good luck to you, Valeria. Next is Mr. Flanagan, Aiden. Aiden has been a server over at the clubhouse for almost 3 years. He's attending East Carolina University, will be a sophomore. He's a double E electrical engineer. And the reason for double E, he tells us, is that he had this marvelous professor this past semester who inspired him. And I wonder how many of us that ended up either in high school or in college had that one professor or teacher that all of a sudden was a major inspiration in their life. And evidently, Aiden has already found his. I'm not going to let you off the hook just now, Aiden. We asked about how did you learn about the scholarship program, and he said, well, he works with Alex Cook. We'll hear more about Alex in a minute. And he told him about the program. He said, well, that's not quite true. He said, actually, my parents and the cook and Alex's parents, the Cooks, are friendly socially. And the Cooks advised the Flanagans that last year, Alex got a scholarship here, and why is it that Aiden didn't get a scholarship? Well, Aiden decided maybe it was his turn to apply, which he did. So Alex and Aiden, thank you very much, both of you. Our next recipient, this is the sisters, Ashton Fawcett. Ashton is a sous chef at the Bistro. She has been with us almost a year now. She's going to go to GTCC, and she's a graduate out of Ragsdale High. While she was at Ragsdale, this culinary arts thing was big, passionate desire she had. She decided, I think I'll go over to the Weaver Academy and take some culinary arts classes over at Weaver so that I'll get a head start when I start at GTC in my culinary arts. And best of luck to all that. She's also hoping to move on to UNCG after she graduates out of GTCC and perhaps get a degree in business. At some point, she wants to be a restaurant owner. She does have a mentor. I bet you can't guess that it's Jeremy down there at the bistro. We also learned one final thing. And this came a quote out of the interview. There was no question in our minds as we were interviewing Ashton about the passion she had for food. She told us things that we've never heard about, chop competitions and all this kind of stuff, which she is just absolutely enthralled with and enjoys competing in culinary arts. But the quote I need to read, and this will lead into the next candidate. Hayden has a passion to tell everyone what I'm doing. I have no secrets in my life. So Hayden, can you come up here and respond to this now? This young lady probably needs no introduction at all. She's a cashier at the bistro, has been for over 3 years. She had attended GTCC and is now moving on to be a junior at UNCG. While we were interviewing, we found out that she had a busy day ahead, and I think this was probably noontime by the time we talked to Hayden, maybe just after lunch. She also had her first class that she needed to attend at UNCG that day, and then after class, she was headed to the beach for a little R&R. Hayden, you're always on the move, lady. A quote that we got. Oh, by the way, she's pursuing a bachelor's and wants to become a social worker as a career. A quote that we have is, I love the time that I have spent at River Landing, and hopefully when I complete my education, I'll be able to move and stay at Bright Spire. Well, we hope the same thing. There's also another element that I would like to share with you. Have you seen the We Care ribbons on people's name tags, the staff members here? The We Care program, as I understand it, is a help for the staff, some training they can go through, in order to make their experience a little bit better, a little bit more personal, and that of the residents that they're serving, to head and make their experience here at River Landing a little bit more fruitful and happy. There are over 400 employees that have gone through this We Care program. They needed some trainers to do that. Can you guess one of the 8 trainers might be? That's right, it was Miss Hayden. But that didn't stop there. Tom decided that this We Care program had such a good profile and was working really well that he wanted to share it with the Board of Governors at Bright Spire. And so he asked 2 people if they would go ahead and present to the board. One of them was Joe Rojas, the other one, Hayden. And Joe immediately ran up to Hayden and said, tell you what, Hayden, I'll take care of the computer and I'll change the slides. Am I lying, Joe? I'll change the slides, you do all the talking. And she did, and it was a wonderful presentation. I spoke to Joe about that on the way in. He said, you know, you take somebody like Hayden or any of these other recipients, you just wonder how far they're really gonna go. How much capacity do they have to continue to make their life better and the lives of those of us around us better? So we wish you the best, Hayden. Our next recipient, Jacob Gates. Jacob is with us in our security force. I like it when big people get up here. It makes me feel a little bit smaller. Jacob works with the security force here at the River Landing, primarily at the gate, but sometimes you'll find him also at the front desk. He's a rising junior attending UNC Wilmington, and he's majoring in criminology. His desire is to get to law school. He's got another 3 semesters to finish up down in Wilmington. So far, he's only got a 3.8 grade point average. He is, this past summer, he had the opportunity to kind of get to the tip of the spear. He was a lobbyist over in Raleigh, working with our folks in the Senate there. And I'm thinking, you know, what a neat opportunity for somebody his age to be able to really see politics right at kind of on the raw edge. So working with this lobbyist, he said he had a great opportunity, but that wasn't the end of it. Before he left, he was encouraged by Senator Craven, who is from Ashboro, 29th District, I think, here in High Point, to go to work for him next summer. So before he leaves, he's got a job for next year already. So congratulations, Jacob, on that. We hope that you enjoy that internship. Next, Anaya Neufeld. I think she's not here. Is that right? She's at camp. I think the camp is cheerleader camp. Is that right?
That's right.
She's going to be a freshman at UNCC in Charlotte, and got an opportunity to participate on the cheerleader squad. So she'll be participating in the football, basketball games as a cheerleader. And she was another one of these interview folk that just had energy that was coming out of her ears. It was just wonderful to see. Our next candidate is Juliana Ortega. Juliana? Juliana is a server at Water's Edge for a year and a half. She'll be a freshman at GTCC and just graduated from Northwest Guilford. She's pursuing an Associate of Arts degree, and the goal is to go on to NC State in their business school. She has two dreams. One is to work with animals, and the other one was to start a bakery with her mom. We asked about the animals part and said, whoa, tell us a little bit about this. Why the animals? What's the interest in all this? And she said, well, her dad, who works with the Guilford County Animal Services as a director, said normally we have anywhere between 4 and 8 dogs we're fostering in our house at any one time, most all the time. She said, so we're around animals all the time. I've enjoyed that, so maybe that's one of the things. So it made me understand now why the animals. I'm not so sure about the bakery business with you, Juliana, but maybe your mom can relay that to us later today. Good luck. Our next candidate probably knows me better than most of the candidates here because she's been over house cleaning our house. Marley Perry. Marley is a housekeeper and nearly 2 years here at River Landing. She will be attending GTC. She'll be a junior. She has been at UNCG and is back over to GTC now. Her goal is to become a social worker, specializing in gerontology. So we look forward to that. Maybe after being in our house, she's going to change her mind. But one of the things that I picked out of her application was a quote. Let me give that to you. Being gifted, the opportunity to afford to go back to school would be a blessing. It would help me in achieving my goal professionally and personally. Well, the word that caught me was gifted, being gifted. And it is a gift, I think, that we in River Landing possess to be able to give to these staff members. So I'm glad that you brought that to our attention, Marley. Thanks very much. Abby Rebko. Abby, bring it on up here. Abby's a server at Water's Edge. She's been with River Landing for over 3 years. She is a rising sophomore at App State. Her dream is to become an FBI agent. Wow. So we said, tell us about that, will you, Abby? She huh?
She said I can't.
That's right. She said, I'd have to kill you if I really told you the answer. She relayed to us that in high school she started to pick up this passion. I don't know whether she was watching NCIS or something like that, but the whole forensic side of detective work is really what is of interest to Abby. And so she is she doesn't want to be on the front line necessarily, but she would love to be in the laboratory and solve crimes or help solve crimes that way. And we know that you're going to be successful. Abby has been working since she was 14 years old. She's been here at River Landing since she was 16 years old. So here's somebody who is committed to helping herself financially so she can reach her goals. Her mentor, probably no surprise, working over at Water's Edge, is Joe Lewis. She has a request, though. The request, and this comes out of 2 of our young ladies, is that if anybody has any contacts with the legal community, both Abby and Kate Jackson need an internship before they graduate. That's a requirement of App State in criminology, that you internship in the law business someplace. So if you have any contacts of that sort, Abby would love to hear from you. Am I right? And I think Kate Jackson, the same thing. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Our next candidate is Mariana Romero. Mariana. Mariana is a server at Water's Edge. She's been with us for almost 4 years now. She's going to be a senior at UNCG. She has a brother that's entering as a freshman. Is the brother here today, Mariana? Her major is human development and family studies. So her goal is to become a marriage counselor. I have two quotes from Mariana. One, I can always count on a resident or a coworker to bring a smile if I've had a really tough day with my classes. The other quote, being a full-time student and having several paying jobs can be a lot to handle at times, and receiving the scholarship would be a great help to me and to my family. We're glad we can help Mariana. Tanner Royals. Tanner. Tanner's a groundskeeper working with our friend Scooter for the last 2 years out on the golf course, etc. He is going to be attending Guilford College on an academic scholarship, and he's looking forward to playing baseball. He wants to major in biology. His goal is to become a marine biologist and perhaps work in an aquarium at some point. He graduated from Southwest. Out of the 402 students, he was 37 with a GPA of 4.4. I told you I never heard these scores before. He also would love to get an internship to work over at Greensboro Science Center over there at the aquarium section there. So if anybody knows anything about the aquarium at Greensboro Science Center, please get a hold of Tanner for us. One of the questions that we asked in the interview is there something that you're particularly proud of that you've done either here at River Landing or in your personal life? And the response from Tanner was yes. As a matter of fact, he said, I work hard at both my academics and my athletics. It's fun to play baseball, but studying, sitting down, working on the academics, that's what I'm most proud of. So we're proud of you, Tanner. Thank you. The next recipient is Victoria Ruiz. Victoria. Victoria has been with us for about a year as a server over in Watersgate. She's just graduated from Southwest, is going to UNCG, and her major is going to be nursing. Victoria came to the United States when she was just 5 years old with her mom from Colombia. She's worked all the way through high school. Her grade point average is 3.89. And while she was going to school, she got her CNA. And then she did her clinicals here at River Landing, hence how she got here to River Landing, and we're glad that you did. She also brought her twin sister, by the way, to River. Is that right, Marianne? You brought the twins, excuse me, to River Landing. I was only going to give you half credit for that. The quote that we have, which is kind of powerful, when I want something, I will get it done and never halfway. My entire life, I have wanted to help people, and I found out that nursing was the career that was really just my calling. We wish you luck. Jasmira Wade. Jasmira. Is one of the nervous ones, I think. She's a CNA. She's actually in a floating pool, so she ends up in many sections over on the healthcare side of River Landing. Jasmira is taking a little bit of a different turn. She's going to ECPI. ECPI is an educational organization that tries to take their students quickly through their academics in order to get whatever certification or degree that they're after. So they really make it a compressed effort to minimize time, but maximize the student's attention while you're doing that. It's also expensive to go to ECPI. So we thank you for that opportunity, and thank you for the fact that we can help out a little bit. I can't leave this one alone. Her great-grandmother was a nurse, because we had asked, is there some particular mentor in your life that has helped guide you as you're moving through your life? And she said, yes, my great-grandmother. And we learned that the great-grandmother, who was a nurse, actually gave up her nursing career so she could raise her grandchildren. how do you get better inspiration than that out of life? And we hope that you hold that really in front of you for the rest of your life, Janera. Good luck to you. The Charles and Alice Fisher. Thank you, Fisher, so much. This next group of candidates are under the endowment by the Fisher family, and we thank them for that effort so very much. And the first recipient is Alec Cook. Alex. Alec is a server over at the clubhouse for 3 years. He is at UNC Chapel Hill. He's going to be a rising sophomore. He's majoring in statistics. We asked him a little bit about why statistics, and we found out that he loves math, and he had a particularly good professor this past year that was encouraging, and he has an uncle who's an actuary, so it kind of makes sense that that might be where Alex is headed. This is an unusual. We asked the question, is there anything in particular, because this is the second time Alex has received a scholarship here, and we're glad for that. He said, how did it all go freshman year at UNCG? And he said, did you say good or bad? We said, yeah, good or bad? He said, bad. Well, what was the bad part? He goes, it was a shameful basketball season at Carolina. We hope they do better next year, Alex. We really do. We also asked all the candidates, how are you going to handle your financials through this journey that you're on in higher ed? In some cases, it was very, very clear. In some cases, it's going to be student loans. It's going to be any scholarships that they get a hold of. But in many cases, it's student loans. In Alex's case, he's got his parents. He's got his church actually helping him. He's got River Landing, and he said he'll probably have loans. One of the statistics I looked up on college students graduating with a Bachelor's of Science throughout the United States, that close to 50%, it's like 49.4 or something percent of those that are graduating with a bachelor's will end up with student loans to have to pay back. The student loans are in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $35,000 as they're coming out of their first 4 years of education. So it's not an easy hurdle for a lot of folks to overcome, and a lot of those folks are sitting here with us today, and we value the fact that you're committed that much to be able to work it all through, so thank you for that. I had a quote I wanted to share. I can't let this one go by. This is back on you, Al, Mr. Cook. We asked him, or in the interview, we asked about some of the favorite quotes, and the one that he said is, my favorite memories from work have come with talks from the residents. Some residents about life, some about sports, or even some disasters happening in the kitchen. I didn't go there. Our next candidate is Marion Nichols Aidman. Marion? Marion's an LPN in the healthcare side for almost 2 years. This one's going to take a little explanation, so don't run away, Marion, too far. Marion's going to Gardner-Webb University. Gardner-Webb University is in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, which is southwest of Charlotte, just a mere 2 hours away. But that's where she's going to school, working on a degree in nursing. Her goal is to become either an OR nurse or a nurse practitioner specializing in gerontology. And she has 3 boys at home. So here we go. We're going to school 2 hours away. We got 3 guys that we're trying to raise in our household. And we said, well, what else you got going on, Marianne? She said, well, my clinicals are down in Spartanburg because the Gardner-Webb is associated with the hospital at Spartanburg, which is fairly close, but it's just another 20 or 30 minutes away. We said, where do you find the time to study? She said, well, fortunately, I'm an auditory learner. So she's asked all of her professors to record their lectures. So she listens to the lecture while she's driving back and forth down to Spartanburg and down to Bowling Springs. So what an effort you're putting in there, ma'am. We appreciate that. Before I leave, Marion, let me give you this quote. Without the scholarship, she may have to go back and stop the studies for a while and take a break. Well, we're not wanting for you to take a break, Marion, so we're glad that we can help out with a scholarship. Our next candidate is Sophia Haley. Sophia. Sophia is a homemaker over in Muirfield for the 2+ years. She's going to Alabama, Roll Tide. Her major is biology, and she's looking to become a physical therapist. I've labeled Sophia as a child of River Landing. Sophia actually went to the day school here at River Landing while her dad was working here at River Landing for a number of years. And she lives someplace off the 1st and 2nd fairways here, the subdivision that's just on the other side of the golf course. She has 6 brothers and 3 sisters, and we asked her a little bit about the physical therapy. And she said that one of her sisters needed to go to physical therapy, and she went with the sister routinely. And she said, by gosh, that's what I want to do for my life so that I can help other people that have physical disabilities to be able to recover like my sister has been able to do. So we think that's a wonderful vocation for you to pursue, Sophia, and we wish you a lot of luck with that. Erica, tell us. Erica? Erica is a server at Water's Edge for the last 1.5 years. She's going to East Carolina. Arg, Pirates. Rising junior, her major is psychology, and she hopes to become a clinical psychologist. We also did an interview a year ago with Erica, and she was talking about becoming a healthcare administrator, and Tim immediately said, no, don't do that. She had a tough year, her freshman year at East Carolina. We actually interviewed her a year ago after that year, and she was questioning whether she wanted to go back. It was just an unfortunate time at East Carolina. But she summoned the courage and went back, and what we learned was, her words, it was 10 times better, and I made the dean's list, so it can't be all bad. We would like to thank. Erica, I've got to read your quote. This is from the application. Quote, I don't want to get cheesy, but I'm going to share a quote. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And Erica, certainly you exhibited the courage to continue, and it does count. Thank you. Still on the Charles and Ellis Fisher Foundation Awards, Erica Vasquez. Erica. She's in traffic. Well, maybe we'll catch her when she gets out of traffic. We're going to move to the John and Verna Groom Scholarship Award, which is going to Jerich Jodan. Jerich. This is Mr. Energy. He's a homemaker over in the healthcare side. He's been with us a year. He's going to be a freshman at NYU. He's going to New York City. So I asked him, I said, you ever been to New York City? He said, no. And I thought, good luck. In fact, Dick Tobin over here, who's spent most of his career in New York City, wished him a lot of good luck. We asked about his major, and it's mechanical engineering, and then I read the application because I asked him, I said, why mechanical engineering? And the quote was, I enjoy finding out how things work. I thought, yeah, that's a typical mechanical engineer. He's going to take it all apart, figure out what makes it work, and then not be able to put it back together again. But there was more to the application with Jerich. He was actually raised in the Philippines, and I'm guessing from the interview that it was in one of the major cities in the Philippines. And he talks about waking up in the morning and barely being able to breathe because of the bad air, or having his eyes all gunked over because of the lousy air. And we found out that really what he's after long-term after going to NYU is to start up his own business and something that has to do with renewable energy. he remembers very clearly as a child growing up in an environment that wasn't very healthy. And he's hoping in his career that in fact he can get that turned around and add something, and we think that with the energy that he has, he probably will. I'm gonna want him fighting back in about 5 years and see how well he's done there at UNC, at NYU. But we wish you the best of luck, Jareth. The next scholarship is the Burton and Regina Shepard Scholarship, and we are anxious to bring Kate Jackson up here. Kate. Kate's been a cashier with us here at the Bistro and the Creamery. I happen to know the Creamery by personal. For over almost 4 years now. Kate's probably been with us as long as any of the recipients here today. She's going to App State and be a senior. She's majoring in criminology, and her desire is to go to law school either at Carolina or Duke. I have a quote from Kate that I wanted to share. And by the way, Kate started her education, her higher education, as a paralegal at GTC in their program, and I think that she probably got a taste of the world of law and then decided to go ahead and start up at App State, on which she's going to be a senior. My junior year at App was probably the most difficult year I've had in college so far. I was taking senior level major related classes, as well as working a part-time job. However, this was probably my favorite year of classes yet. The classes I took were difficult, but interesting and important in my field of study. I ended up the year on the dean's list. Great job, Kate. One other plea for Kate, as it is with Abby Rebko, if you could help them with an internship. Do you recognize that a lot of the schools now are wanting internships, whether it's a summer job in an area that you think your career is headed for? Some schools are actually making the internships a requirement to graduate, that you at some point in your 4 or 5 years at the school, you've gotten at least one internship underneath your belt. Different, certainly, than when I went to school there. One other thing about Kate I wanted to bring up is that she'll be the first generation college student in her family. James, we're glad you brought all your family here so they can plow. The last two are for the Landon and the Scholarship Foundation, and we thank you certainly for that in memory of your wife. Michaela Toller. Michaela. Michaela's a cashier at the Bistro for the last year and a half. She's going to be going to GTCC. She graduated from Southwest. I think she's going to is it a sophomore, Michaela? You'll be a sophomore, okay. I want to make sure I got that right. We actually did Michaela's via Zoom, or we tried to do it on Zoom. We started and the visual was so terrible that we couldn't see her, she couldn't see us, and we ended up with a telephone interview, but at least we're glad to have gotten it all accomplished. The quote that I've got from Michaela: working full-time at a job, school full-time, and that can become stressful. But knowing that the residents care for us to finish school by helping us with scholarship gives me the motivation to keep going and strive for whatever it is that I want. And we're glad that you are, Michaela. Good luck. Our last recipient, Elizabeth Zen, cashier. Cashier at the Bistro for almost 2 years. Going to be a senior at UNCG. Michaela's dad was in the military for 20 plus years and was able to get the GI Bill. Michaela has a sister, so the dad said, Elizabeth, you get 2 years and then your sister's going to get 2 years. Other than that, you need to get your own money. So she's working hard at that. One of the other things we learned about Elizabeth is we asked her, I said, well, how do you recharge your batteries? She said, well, one thing is I play tennis with Hayden, and that's a workout. But the other thing is that in their house, and I guess the parents work on this too, they have a Lego room. nothing but Lego in this room. And she said it's a wonderful way to just go get recharged and get back into life after spending time in the Lego room. I got to see that sometime, Elizabeth. We really thank you all for being here. It is as I said earlier, this is really what shows me the heart of River Landing, that we are family, and that we care deeply for each other, and we can share when there's an opportunity to help one another. And we thank you, staff members, for making this such a pleasant place to live. All you special donors for being able to help us with the Endowment Foundation. It's just a neat place to be able to live out your life here at River Landing. So thank you all for attending. Those of you that did receive some scholarship, we'd ask that you'd come and get your picture taken here afterwards. Other than that, you're dismissed. Thank you very much.